Thank you, Tim. That was amazing. This is our city, folks. Let's take it back. Let's make it look the way we want it to look. So on to another committee. We're going to talk about the Tax and Services Committee, and we will be hearing from the chair of that committee, Charles Wilhoite, Managing Director of Willamette Management Associates. I want to thank you for chairing that committee, probably one of the more complex ones to take on as well. The committee is recommending a moratorium on new taxes and suggesting targeted tax relief for our businesses in the central city. So let's hear more from Charles. Welcome Charles Wilhoite to the stage.
Thank you, Governor. Well, good morning. Thank you very much, Governor. Thank you for the opportunity to serve as well. I want to take this opportunity also to thank the committee members. They were very committed and very diligent throughout the process. And we would not have made it to this point without the wonderful support of Echo Northwest, Brittany Badgent, Madeline Barron, Mike Wilkerson, and John Tapania, who is ever present. Today, I'm going to share our process with you and our recommendations as indicated by the governor. But first, I'm going to give you a little context. The tax and services landscape changed significantly in Portland during 2019 through 2022. The state of Oregon and the city of Portland each enacted versions of gross receipts taxes to fund education and energy investments, respectively. And locally, voters approved 2 income taxes to fund supportive housing services and universal pre-kindergarten. The services associated with the tax increases are critical, as evidenced by broad voter support. However, the associated tax changes taken together were abrupt. Ernst & Young estimated that the total taxes paid by Portland-based businesses increased by 32% during 2019 through 2021. And on the household side, Portland now has the second highest marginal income tax rate in the United States, behind only New York City. We heard talk a little earlier from Sean Walters at Daimler and Senator Wyden about being #1. Well, I don't think we want to be #1 on the tax burden list, but as you can see on the slides behind me, we are second only to New York City in the income tax for individuals, and right in front of California. Once again, it's good to strive to be #1, but being #1 from a tax burden perspective is something I think we do not want. This slide also shows that while we're second in marginal income tax in the country, we're #1 in marginal income tax at the state and local income tax level. These are things that we can't survive, and these are things we need to change. Just so you know, there may be a few sheepish grins at your table, and you might be wondering why anyone would smile at such news. Well, these are likely to be members of my extended CPA and tax family. Needless to say, when you make a living addressing someone else's tax problems, you can't ignore the silver lining in the clouds of confusion and complexity created by our tax structure. And Derek was speaking a little earlier about being hip. Well, I have a 23-year-old son. He spent his first year in the tax world this year, in the accounting world this year. And he said, "Tell people, Dad, you have to appreciate, not hate." So I've given you a line today: do not hate your CPAs. One day you will need them. And I don't know why anyone wouldn't have a CPA as one of their best friends, particularly a tax expert. Ranking second on the national income tax burden scale would be notable anywhere, but it's especially notable when you neighbor a state with no income tax. There's been a long-standing concern, at least among economists, that people ultimately might act on those interstate tax differences. And then, for the first time in many years, we saw people and dollars moving out of Multnomah County. In the past, IRS data would often show more income coming into Multnomah County than leaving. But coincident with the tax increases, we now see income taxes on income moving out at the level of $1.2 billion in 2021. This slide indicates that from 2013 through 2016, we saw an increase in income in our region due to migration. But 2016 through 2019, we saw that we are experiencing a loss of income as a result of migration. From 2019 through 2021, that loss increased from $159 million to $1.2 billion. That's income that would generate funding to address the housing, the mental health issues, and the addiction issues that we've heard about earlier in the program. There are many possible causes for the change in migration and income taxes and income, but the prime cause, we believe, is our tax burden. This is associated with shifts to remote work and expensive housing. With these findings as a background, the committee went to work on two primary objectives: an overall assessment of taxes and services, and identifying specific changes to the existing tax structure that could attract workers and businesses to the central city. As it is often the case in a setting like this, someone has stolen some of my thunder, and Mayor Wheeler also already spoke about our #1 recommendation. We do recommend a 3-year from 2024 through 2026 moratorium on new taxes for jurisdictions in the greater Portland region that impact the central city. Once again, this is new taxes. The tax moratorium would only apply to new tax measures and increase to existing taxes or fees that impact the central city. Our second recommendation is we call for the creation of a tax advisory group to review and recommend reforms to local, county, and regional taxes, as well as the fundamental taxing structure, and to make recommendations regarding system adjustments. Our third recommendation is the committee would like to see an expansion of the new business license tax credit program. The City of Portland recently implemented the credit to encourage businesses to relocate or extend their commercial leases within a small section of the central city. This was a valuable development, but the pilot program is limited in geography and scope. The committee recommends evaluating an expanded program via a Multnomah County and State of Oregon match program. Additional funds could support businesses located outside of the relatively small pilot geography, microenterprises, and businesses with fewer than 15 full-time equivalent employees, and nonprofit organizations. Finally, the committee was introduced to 16 other city, county, regional, and state tax incentive concepts. Of those, we conclude 12 warrant further study and encourage the city, county, and state to evaluate them. So those are our recommendations, and once again, on behalf of the committee, we appreciate the opportunity to serve this city and this wonderful state and appreciate your presence today. I'll turn it back over to you, Governor Kotek.